My awful boss stole my Super Bowl tickets that a very important client gifted me and lied about it, so I burned their relationship. I work at a consulting firm, and I was close with one client in particular, to the point of often grabbing drinks or dinner after our meetings. In one of our talks, I told him I was a huge Niners fan, and one day, he had access to a pair of extra company seats to the game. As a thank you, he wanted to give them to me as a gift, so he passed the tickets over to Dan, who was the partner on that account, and he was supposed to give it to me. The game came and went, and we lost. The next time I saw the client, he mentioned, "Why didn't you go to the Niners game? I heard someone else was in your seats." I looked at him confused and said I didn't have seats to the Super Bowl. He told me that he gave Dan a pair of his company tickets for me as a gift, so I could attend. I had zero idea what he was talking about. He looked shocked, told me to quietly ask around about it and get back to him. So I did, and I found out that Dan had given a pair of Super Bowl tickets to another one of his clients as a gift from our company. I might have let this sort of thing go to keep the peace, but these were seats on the 30-yard line to see the Niners play in the Super Bowl. I was pissed. I texted my client, "I just wanted to thank you so much for thinking of me with those seats. It appears that they were given to another one of our firm's clients." He texted back right away, in all caps, "Are you pooping me?" And then, "Pretend I never told you. Let me handle it." And he indeed handled it. A few days later, me and Dan attended a meeting with my client. When we entered the conference room, my client immediately introduced a VP from another department, telling us her name was Stephanie, and she wanted to sit in on this meeting. Then he turned to me and said, "You must already know her from the Super Bowl." She responded, "Oh, I don't think so. Did we meet there? I'm sorry if I forgot." My client responded, "Geez, Steph, how much did you have to drink? He was sitting right next to you." I know that's my cue, so I say, "Sorry I wasn't there. Are you thinking of someone else?" At this point, Dan looked visibly uncomfortable, probably trying to come up with an excuse. Stephanie then goes, "No, so-and-so from other company, we're in the other seats. By the way, I was wondering why we gave company seats to those guys. Are we working with them on a project I don't know about?" Dan let out an but my client immediately spoke over him to ask, "Dan, I gave you those tickets for OP." At this point, Dan was turning bright red, and his bird brain finally got an excuse out. He said, "Oh well, he wasn't able to make it, so he must have given the seats away to someone else," and had the audacity to turn to me looking for me to cover for him. I responded, "What are you talking about? Client, you gave me tickets to the Super Bowl?" My client suddenly raised his voice. "Dan, those tickets were a personal thank you gift from me to OP. Did you give them away to someone else? Was it another client?" Dan went in with, "Maybe something got mixed up in the office?" My client went quiet for what probably seemed like an eternity to Dan. He then grabbed his portfolio and iPad, put them into his briefcase and said, "I think this meeting is over, OP. It seems as if I owe you a thank you gift. Let's go to lunch. Stephanie, you're welcome to join. Dan, I need to evaluate our relationship. Please go back home and expect to hear from us next week." Dan suggested he would like to join, probably to do damage control, but Stephanie sternly said, "I don't think that's a good idea," and asked the front desk to see him out. As soon as he was in the elevator, we all broke laughing hysterically. Stephanie wasn't really a VP, she was just an employee at the company, who my client had drafted into helping with his pre-planned meeting skit. This whole thing caused a stir with the other partners, and I actually came off looking great, because it appeared that I had made a good faith effort to save the client for the firm, despite being the victim in this situation, though my client ended all relations with Dan. But luckily, the other partners in the firm made Dan pay the invoices back out of his salary. I'm still pissed I missed out on the Super Bowl, but this was a nice revenge to make up for it. Go Niners!